WWE Backlash St. Louis. This is my review of the first pay-per-view after WrestleMania, headlined by hometown hero Randy Orton trying to dethrone John Cena for the WWE title. This show, man, this show felt the most like a filler, skippable show than maybe any of the shows we've seen in quite some time now. It really felt that way. Now, I'm not saying that it is a filler pay-per-view, but a lot of what they did here just felt like they were trying to get past Backlash and move on to something else. And I'll go into more detail about what I'm talking about here. I didn't have super high hopes. WrestleMania was a big disappointment, especially compared to the last 2 or 3 years. This Backlash show, I didn't have really high expectations, but I still found the show underwhelming. That doesn't mean that everything on the show was bad, but the first half of this show I thought was a great sort of look at what the future of the business is going to be in WWE, or at least partially. Whereas the last, couple of matches, there was very unsatisfying, and we're going to go into more detail on that here in the review. So the show opened with the 4-way U.S. title match, which is LA Knight versus Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. So these guys went out there and lit the place up. The crowd was really into it. Great crowd in St. Louis tonight. One of the better St. Louis crowds in WWE. So they really helped elevate even the stuff that wasn't great. But I've talked about like the 5-match pay-per-views. And I've talked about how with these very high ticket prices WWE is charging, it makes me wonder if it's even worth going out to these. And I feel like if I were one of the fans going to Backlash St. Louis, I probably would have been a bit let down. Like I said, I'll go more into it. But this opening match did not let me down. These guys all worked hard. These guys are current or future main eventers. Jacob Fatu is incredibly over, even though he's a heel. LA Knight still getting massive pops. And of course, Priest and Drew are going to be in that upper mid main event slot for quite some time. So they all brawled everywhere, told a bunch of stories. We saw some triple team moves. We saw that spot where one guy hits his finisher on the next guy. Then another guy hits his finisher. They did that gimmick. So we saw some stuff that we have seen before from these matches. Now, the finish was quite interesting. So Solo Sikoa comes out to try to help Jacob Fatu. And then a mystery man appears to help Jacob Fatu, and it is Mr. Athletic Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb had been rumored to have been signed by WWE right around WrestleMania time, and I think it was actually confirmed he signed, but this was his debut. Now, Jeff Cobb is from Guam. He's an Islander. He's not a Samoan, but he's apparently Solo Sikoa's new buddy, and Jeff Cobb was the one that helped Jacob Fatu get the pin. But the story here, because this is all part of the Jacob Fatu Solo breakup angle they've been doing for a few months, is that Jacob is turning babyface. People are into him, and he wants to win his matches clean without help. But Solo, because he needs help, just like he did when he was around, is bringing him help, and now it's Jeff Cobb. So Jeff Cobb helps Jacob Fatu win the match and retain the title. Jeff Cobb is a great worker. It's funny because WWE passed on him a few years ago. He's a great wrestler. He's very athletic. He has great moves, and he'll fit right in with like Jacob Fatu, LA Knight. Like he fits right into this like upper mid storyline. Then we had Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. This match was absolutely great. I really liked this match. It might have actually been my favorite match of the night. I really do feel like it probably was my favorite match of the night. These two women went out there and worked hard, very hard. Lyra and Becky Lynch were throwing every suplex in the book. We saw a Northern Light suplex, a delayed vertical suplex. We saw a T-bone suplex. They were really smashing each other. Like, I was watching it, and I could tell that they were They had their win. They still had their win, but I could tell that these bumps were taking their effect. I mean, and they're also great at selling. This match was great. I do think this is the beginning of a multi-month feud. And like I said before, how I mentioned they needed to figure out how to get past this show. Lyra Valkyria won the match clean. What happened was they were doing a series of like wrestling reversals, and Valkyria rolled her up in a cradle and got the pin with a real like amateur wrestling pin. Becky Lynch immediately gets up and is upset and starts beating down Lyra Valkyria, just beating her up, punches, putting submission moves on her. The agents all come out. So the feud will continue. I was wondering if they were going to have Bayley come out, because I feel like the long-term plan is Bayley versus Becky. There's been a lot of speculation about Bayley's future. A lot of people, from what I've seen, are concerned that she's being mistreated or not pushed. She herself has kind of given clues that maybe she's not as happy as she was before. You know, WrestleMania last year was maybe the best time in a long time for her when she wrestled Io Sky and won the title. But for the second half of last year and the first half of this year, they haven't really done much with Bayley, and a lot of people are behind her. So hopefully WWE can shape up, because they don't want to lose someone like Bayley to AEW. Bayley's already got Sasha over there. They're very, very close in real life. Like, Bayley does not, you don't want to lose her, man, because she is a talent, and she can work any of the three brands. And even if she's not the top talent, she's still going to elevate whoever she's in the ring with. So there you go. Dominic Mysterio and Penta. Where did this like cheering for Dominic thing start? Because it was WrestleMania, but why? Like, it was very weird. Dominic Mysterio comes out at WrestleMania, gets a big pop, gets cheered. This is the same guy who at one time was getting the longest and loudest boos of anybody on the roster. So now all of a sudden he's getting cheered, and I thought that was unusual. And now I've always liked Dominic's work. Like, I've always, not always, that's not true. When he first started, I wanted him off my TV. But from the Judgment Day era forward, the Rhea Ripley angle, the Liv Morgan stuff, now they're doing a storyline with Finn Balor. All that stuff I felt was really maybe they made people appreciate him, because he did great work. I mean, he was a great heel. But now it seems like the people are behind him, which is interesting, because Finn Balor is going to be the one that turns face in this once they split up. They teased that a lot. They teased it again on this show. That's an ongoing storyline that will pay off. But now, are they going to pivot, as they say? Are they going to course correct to where Finn Balor's the heel? We'll see what they do. This match, though, is now another match on this card that had a lot of interference. We saw the Judgment Day come out. We saw Carlito. We saw Finn Balor. They were trying to help Dominic. Ultimately, what ends up happening is, of course, one of my favorite characters right now, El Grande Americano. He came out and he headbutted Penta off the top rope, allowing Dominic to hit the frog splash, the Eddie Guerrero frog splash, and retain the title. So it was a finish that needed to be done to not only continue Dominic's, this new era of Dominic's career, it feels like, but if you're going to have Penta lose, it's probably a good idea to have him lose like this at first. He shouldn't be losing clean to Dominic Mysterio anytime soon. So the match was okay. It felt like something you'd see on Raw. To me, again, when you think about these ticket prices and this show, I don't know if they really gave the fans what they want. So Gunther and Pat McAfee. Now, look, this is going to be the one where I think people are not going to agree with me. So this match, okay, I like Pat McAfee, and I like this storyline. The angle's good. Gunther's bitter. He lost the title. Pat is there to kind of elevate Gunther and put him back into, show his evil side and this and that. My opinion, I think this match went a little bit too long. Pat McAfee has not had a wrestling match in, 2 years, something like that? It's been a while, right? Pat McAfee's a part-time wrestler at most. He's not a bad wrestler. He's actually he's done some great work in NXT, at different WWE shows. Pat is athletic and, for sure somebody who you can count on. In this match, though, he's going up against a former World Heavyweight Champion who had the championship for, months and months and months in SummerSlam. I feel like, in my opinion, if I could tweak this match, it would be shorter and Pat wouldn't have got that much offense. I thought he got way too much offense in on Gunther. The story of the match was that Pat was trying to be the David to the Goliath and, bounce back and keep coming. They had a chopping match. Gunther was hitting him with a number of moves. At one point, Michael Cole got involved. And it really felt a lot like that Taz versus Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross feud from the summer of 2000, right? Except, he didn't get hit with a candy bowl or whatever. Like, Gunther was basically just destroying Pat, and then he talks about Michael Cole. He basically tells him, like, come into the ring. And some of the work was sloppy. And then Cole did get involved. And then, again, a lot of gaga in this one. A little bit too much gaga on this one. However, there was a spot where Gunther was going to German suplex McAfee from the top, and he landed on his feet, and that was really cool. I think that maybe Pat was a little rusty at first, but as the match progressed, he kind of got more comfortable. You know what I mean? Still, though, I do think the match went a tiny bit too long. Gunther should have destroyed him a little bit faster as he's not a full-time wrestler. Gunther hits this nasty lariat, too. I mean, man, Pat took a lot of shots here, man. He really earned his paycheck on this show. Gunther puts him in the choke, in the sleeper hold. Pat actually is about to get out of it, but then Gunther pulls him back in, and he passes out, and Gunther wins. So now, again, this is what felt like we have to get past this story. So let's just, finish it off here. I don't think McAfee is going to have any more matches with Gunther. I think the story's over. I think McAfee proved that he's a tough guy, like in kayfabe, I mean. And Gunther is the former world champion. Like I said, he was being arrogant in the match a lot, and that's why, like, Pat was constantly on him. But then it got to the point where it started to go a bit too long. So, not a great match, but not a bad match. Like, it was a decent story, right? I can say that. Like, I have mixed feelings on it. You know what I mean? Gunther did the best that he could, but they should have cut a few minutes off. Then we have John Cena and Randy Orton after a long, like, commercial break period. This match happened. So, oh man, I don't know what to say. This match, there are things about this match that I loved, and there are things that I absolutely hated. I knew this match would be very dramatic. I knew this match would be very, like, heavy on the story. And I'll tell you this, it was a better match than WrestleMania with Cody. Objectively, it was. Travis Scott was not involved here. The Crack Rock, it's not The Rock, it's the Crack Rock. Travis Scott, he was not involved here. But, dude, so they wrestled an old school match. Like, there was some old school stuff early on with headlocks. And I grew up watching old school wrestling, so it doesn't really bother me all that much. But I felt like they did that for a little bit too much time. Now, the second half of the match is where they started to really go into their trick bag. We saw some table spots on the outside. We saw them using each other's finishers. And we saw a number of ref bumps. To me, man, I think WWE is overdoing it with the ref bumps in the main events, in my opinion. And when AEW does it, and WWE, it becomes even more annoying. there are things about this match that I thought were very cliche. I don't know if that's what they meant to do, but I honestly feel like this. I think that this was, again, better than WrestleMania, but not that great of a match. It was fine for what it was. It wasn't the worst match ever, but it's not like I want to run back and go see it. Like, if you were to tell me, should I go out of my way to see this match? The answer is no. Just look at what happened. Watch the finish of the match. Maybe the last like 5 minutes. But it's not really worth seeing. And again, I appreciated them slowing the pace down at the beginning. I did appreciate that. But I think it went on a tiny bit too long. Like, this 5 match formula that Triple H is doing, I think they need to modify this a bit, man. I think instead of doing 5 longer matches, this show would have benefited if there was a 6th or a 7th match and they shaved time off the Cena and Randy match and the Gunther Pat McAfee match. I know a lot of y'all will not agree with me on this. I know it. It's just, I'm being honest, that's how I felt. I thought Backlash it felt like a filler show. It felt like a Saturday night's main event or a Raw. And while I still look forward to seeing where the story goes, because Money in the Bank is next, as well as, don't forget, that awesome angle on Raw with Heyman and Braun Breaker and Seth, that I'm into. That I am into. So I'm looking forward to that. But ultimately, again, this match was all right. So overall thoughts on the show. Overbooked main event. Cliche ref bumps. Like, just, I forgot to mention, they had a spot where all the agents came out to check on the refs, and then Randy RKO'd everybody, including Nick Aldis again, which is probably going to lead to a suspension or something, get him off TV. I think this is the first time that Randy's gotten a pinfall loss in a long time since coming back. Can you remember Randy getting pinned since coming back? I don't remember that. Also, Cena was nowhere near as jacked as he was in the past against Randy. Randy was, though. Randy was an absolute monster. He towered over John Cena in this. During the show, they kept showing highlights of their previous matches, including the OVW stuff, and I really did appreciate that as well. So, again, there was stuff here that I liked, but overall, I'm not going to say it's must see. I'm just not going to say it. If you missed this show, you can, watch the finishes to some of the matches and you'll be fine. Now, I will say that if you watch the first 2 matches, the 4-way and the women's match with Becky and Lyra, you'll be satisfied because those were both great matches. But the stories of the later matches need a lot of tweaking, and I really do hope that this 5-match formula shit, I hope it's starting to hurt them, dude. It hurts them in shows like this. Like, the show needed something else to elevate it to be at the level of some of last year and the year before's PLE. Without the Bloodline story, without Roman being there every week, without Cody being there, the company needs to figure out a way to get fans to watch weekly and to draw them back in. And I don't think they figured that out yet, yo. I don't think they've really come to a way to do that. I think the Heyman stuff has potential, but I don't think they figured out how to do that yet. So, what did you think about Backlash St. Louis? Disappointing from me. Cena did cut a promo at the end of the show saying he's going to be the last real champion. I thought they were going to have somebody come out to set up the next Cena challenger, AJ Styles, CM Punk, whomever. Even though Punk's in the middle of the Seth feud, so it probably wouldn't be him. But whomever, whatever you want. That didn't happen. So Cena just won, and that's it. And we all knew he was going to win. That's the other thing. Gunther and Pat McAfee and Cena Randy Orton, we knew he was going to win. Now, just because you know who's going to win, just because you kind of know, what they should do and logically should do, does not mean it's bad. Great stories can be predictable but satisfying, right? Sometimes you want to be satisfied. I feel like with this show in particular. I thought the last two matches were too predictable and should have been shorter. That way they didn't feel like they were taking up a lot of time. People who were at this show, like, I don't know, man. Like I said, ticket prices are expensive. But I'm rambling. Let me end this video. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. Take care.